A pleasant good evening, Barbados, my fellow Barbadians. How are you all doing? It's exciting. Barbados is waking up. Let me tell you. Listen, guys, listen. So much is happening right now. I tell you, I'm sure there's a lot of meetings going on. Oh my goodness, Barbados is waking up. The sleeping giant is waking up. And people are asking questions of their leaders. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? We had such an amazing show last night, very educational last night, very inspirational, to the point where people said, listen, we have to do something about this. We have to do something about this. And tonight we are continuing to ask Barbados to wake up to what is happening in this country, regardless of party. This has nothing to do with politics, guys. This has to do with your generations. This has to do with you as a person. Has to do with what is due to you. This has to do with justice and righteousness and what is whole and what is good. And I want to say to you guys, I'm sure some of you already know that of what's happening, what happened in France 4 months ago. In 4 months ago in France, where our prime minister was, you remember when she went there and she mentioned Macron, the president, and they were booing him. Why were they doing that? Why they were doing that? There was tension across the entire French capital with protesters out on the streets of Paris, along with riot police. After 1 million people across France, they were demonstrating. Yes, and this was March 23rd. This is what they were doing. They were demonstrating. Why were they demonstrating? Because President Macron decided to increase the retirement age from 62 to 64. Huh? And they were outside on the street demonstrating. Hmm? People were outside and they set a light on that the ninth day. They had I mean this was like 9 days of protests and strikes. And here we are in Barbados and we say, listen, for the same reason. It is the same reason. It has to do with this the increase of the pension age, right? To 68. All right? And people are saying that it's political. So it was political for France. They were out on the streets for over 9 days, and they're still fighting it. Because what did he do? He went ahead and without he forego a step in parliament to get it passed. That's what President Macron did in France. And don't we see a similar thing that is happening? Why do I say it is a similar thing that is happening? Because on Friday, what happened? The National Insurance and Social Security Amendment Bill was read in Parliament. And their intention is to have it debated in the Senate on Wednesday. Remember, Friday, then Saturday is weekend. All right. Sunday, we're on the weekend. They gave us a holiday on Monday, which is today. Tomorrow is Emancipation Day. Okay? So there is no time for any kind of public discourse because the one place that we would normally go was brass tacks. And brass tacks was not scheduled for today, by the way. Thank God for some activism behind the scene. We were able to get brass tacks to be on today. Huh? But they were ready to get the bill into the Senate, and we know that the Senate is what? It's government. All those people are appointed by government, and we have their government senators, and we have the two independent senators, I should say, are also appointed by the government. So we know that it's very, very easy for that bill to be passed in the Senate. The question is why? Why was it done on the weekend preceding two bank holidays? Are they trying to pull a Macron on the people of Barbados? Don't they know that Barbados, this is a sleeping giant, and this sleeping giant has woken up? Huh? In France, over 1 million people took to the streets. I'm going to show you that video. In France, over 1 million people took to the streets in France over the same thing. Had nothing to do with politics, but had everything to do with the rights of the people, with justice, with democracy. And that's what we're talking about here. Follow the procedures. What are you hiding? What is the urgency of taking this to Parliament? And in the case of the national insurance, as in the case of the national insurance bill, we want to know from government, Barbadians, can the government explain the decision to forego publicizing the bill in the official gazette, as is the requirement under the standing orders of the House of Assembly? Why wasn't that done? These are things that we want to know. There are more questions than answers. What conclusions can Barbadians draw from the quality of debate? Was there real debate in Parliament? Remember that the government has all 30 seats. However, there were vacant seats in Parliament when Minister Strawn spoke about the pension bill. For example, do you know how long he spoke about that? Something that will affect people's lives. Do you know how long that debate lasted in Parliament? 15 minutes. 15 minutes. And they put the two bills together. Okay, they brought the two bills together. They spoke 15 minutes for something that is going to affect Barbadians, the lives of Barbadians. Do you see any similarity with France? In France, Macron decided, well, you know what? He went ahead and pushed through the pension reform bill in France. And the people went to the streets. They went to the streets. Over 1 million French people were on the streets of France. Was that have anything to do with BLP and APP and DLP? And no. Just people making their voices heard because of injustice. People waking up. And I'm saying the sleeping giant in Barbados. Barbados, the sleeping giant, is waking up. Mr. Franklin is there and he's going to be coming on. And I want you to share up the live so that when he comes on, we have enough people on here tonight, guys. Don't get weary. Do not get weary. Let those little fingers do the walking. Come on. Become Facebook warriors, social media warriors. Send it out. Send it out. There is strength in numbers. There is strength in numbers. Can the public have the entire debate of the two bills made available in audio or video, as a Friday sitting did not afford the public sufficient opportunity to follow the debate? Mind you, it was only 15 minutes, so the pensions bill was for less than 15 minutes. But at least let us hear it. At the moment, the debate is not on the Parliament's website. There are more questions than answers. Let me just go right now to Mr. Caswell, who is sitting waiting in the green room. Folks, share up this live. We're not going to get weary. We're not going to get weary. Do not let them talk about any politics. It wasn't any politics in France. As a matter of fact, Mr. Franklin, let me just show the people this little short little video, quickly, as I promised them that I would. This is a clip from the BBC, and we're just gonna show you a little bit of it before we go into discussion with the man of the hour tonight, Mr. Franklin. But just listen, guys.
Protesters look well at home with their placards and banners, and given this demo marks France's 9th national one-day strike since January, so they should. In this latest French Revolution, President Macron is being cast as a latter-day royalty ripe for removal after pushing through an increase in the country's pension age without a vote from Parliament. The president insists that France needs to do this, but to many, the move will trash the long-treasured image here of a good old age, and anger is rising almost as high lines through central.
Gaiety too, musical instruments and people singing. But all this could change. Missing ingredients, something, this huge crowd, things could change very quickly.
5,000 police are in the city for the relative bonhomie to be replaced by violence. They don't have to wait long. Clouds of tear gas fill the air as fires erupt and tempers flare.
I'm here with my friend because we are angry because of everything that our government has done. First, the fact that to work 2 more years, it's unacceptable. I'm a student, I can't always, but every time I can, I'm going to come here and fight and be on the front line because I don't want to give up on democracy. So it starts every time.
Just as I suspected, as soon as police showed up, it's all kicked off. We've had bottles and rocks pelted at the police and all these side roads. Meanwhile, they've been pushing people back down this main avenue for the march, and things are looking like they could take off even worse with fires in various parts of the town now. It really is getting difficult.
I'm usually not for violence, but the government uses violence, and that forces us to retaliate with violence. Unfortunately, none of history's great revolutions were achieved with a bunch of roses. What's a shame is that I've been joining protests for 20 years, and I've seen how police violence has intensified. We used to be able to go protesting as a family with our kids, and that's not the case anymore.
But you don't need to be a supporter of the French president to disagree. This woman runs a cafe not far from the protests.
It's completely ruined our business. This month, my staff aren't earning enough anymore. All the businesses are struggling. We simply can't work, so it's not okay that the strikes are carrying on. It means I won't be able to pay all my bills and wages at the end of the month.
What do you think about President Macron? On the streets, people are holding pictures up of him saying they want him gone. What do you think?
Macron's finished.
Emmanuel Macron does, of course, have his supporters, having been elected with a big majority in last year's elections.
I tell you, Mr. Franklin, this is what has been happening in France. I don't know if Mr. Franklin was following it, but this is what happened in France, and France has nothing to do with DLP, BLP, or APP, or any such thing. Welcome, Mr. Caswell. Franklin, how are you doing?
Oh, I am well, and I'm a bit heartened because today I didn't get 90 calls, I didn't get one. Everybody wants to be involved in this stick out because people are angry, they're concerned, and a lot of them told me that they learned a lot of stuff from the program last night that made them angry. And so I just hope that others would see the light of day and realize that the power is in the hand of the people and not the other way around. Politicians tell you that they are our servants at election time. But we have to keep reminding them that they still are our servants and they're supposed to be serving us. Now, today, I spoke with the Starcom Network News, and apparently they then went and they spoke with Minister Jordan. And Minister Jordan said that they're going to have an education program. That's the cart before the horse. I think they might think that they're not using horses and this thing, they think we're all jackasses. No, if you're going to do something for us, tell it what it is first. We are not babies. We are not dumb. But you come out and you put legislation in place, and this legislation is for a period starting on the first of January 2024.
Mhm.
So why do you have to rush it through in all its stages in one day in Parliament? Why the clandestine manner? Now, when you try to hide things like this, it makes people even think worse. You know, they did the same thing with the National Identity Bill. You know, I remember when I was a member of the Senate, I wrote the courteous thing to do is to write to say that you will not be able to attend the Senate on a particular day. And unfortunately, on that same day, Senators Drex and Tate, Crystal Drex and Monique Tate, they also sent in letters saying they won't be able to make it on that particular day. And out of the blue, they put the National Identity Bill and passed it in all its stages in one day
Mm.
to be implemented 2 years down the road. So up to this day, because of that nastiness, I call it nastiness, I haven't gone for one of them yet because I think there's got to be something behind it. I don't know what it is. All I can tell you is that the way they did it makes me suspicious. Now they're doing the same thing with these two bills, the National Insurance and Social Security Amendment Bill and the Pensions Miscellaneous Provisions Bill 2023. These are going to start January 1st. Why don't you have a program? Send the document out in the public. Let us all see it. Let us all review it. Some people fancy me as an expert in public service pensions. I don't do that to myself, but I know a little bit about it, and I have not seen. You know, when I saw the document, after I heard about the debate, I went on Parliament's website and I read the document. I'm a trade unionist. I represent a few people, and a few of them are public officers. They're calling me for advice. I cannot give them because the first person that called me said this thing be then debated in Parliament. Should I resign now, retire now, and go home because I in? So I said, well, I can't answer that because I don't know what's in the bill. I was able to tell him later on because I called him back when I found out what it was all about. But he in particular didn't have anything to fear. But how many people know this? Up to today, I have received a call with somebody with that same sentiment. You know, the government cannot continue to do these things. And I can't say any sly, can I? You know, they're doing these things like moving in like thieves in the night. When the body will see them.
But Mr. I want to go back to what you said earlier that when it came on to the national identity bill, that they waited until the independent senators were not able to attend on that day.
No. There were two opposition senators because I was an opposition senator then.
Opposition, yes.
And the two of us were going to be absent. And then Monique Tate, who was an independent senator, she also sent it, but Monique usually speaks out about bad draft and bad pieces of legislation. So they made sure we couldn't criticize it. They did it in all its stages that very day. There was absolutely no need for that because they were going to implement it 2 years down the road. As a matter of fact, I had not seen the bill until when they were talking about it. Somebody sent the bill to me. I thought it was something new. So I went on the thing and I couldn't find it. So when I scrolled down, I realized this thing was passed 2 years ago. That is, and you know, they passed it 2 years. The education program that they would have done about it ain't come yet. But they did everything. The same thing they did with the Constitution. That's why everybody walking about blessing and we don't have a constitution. I sat in the Senate on the 6th of October 2021 and I criticized them. I can send you the debate. I said, you realize we passed the constitution today? And they tell about nothing. They actually did, you know. But they tell about anything. So I'm not surprised people say we don't have one. They actually passed a document. They repealed the old constitution. Yeah, they repealed the old constitution and then reenacted it with a few amendments to it. I was ashamed of it. I said, look, this is the same document that we get from Britain, just with a few bells and whistles, those words they use on it. And you don't got the pride? Where's your pride?
So that is why people are saying, so guys, are we listening? That is why people are saying that there is no constitution, because they pass a constitution already to I guess to hold us over until September when we get the reformed constitution, but the public isn't aware of that.
They did it. I can probably even pull it up and read it for you, but that bill was the same bill they used when they declared that the Governor General would change the president. Remember?
Yes.
And most people thought that it was just changing the Governor General to president, but they did a lot more. And people did not know, people did not see, they didn't tell anybody that's what they were doing. Only when I read the bill, I said, but you passing a constitution today and you're not telling about anything?
Wow.
When this program is finished, I will send you the first part of the debate. I started at 34 minutes, so you could probably go from there and check it out. And people didn't know. So I'm not surprised that people said they don't got a constitution, because they actually repealed the old one, but they replaced it immediately.
And they replaced it immediately. Guys, are we hearing that? This is what has happened, and this is why as he said, the average Barbadian does not know this. And it's the same thing with this, with the NIS bill, the pension reform, everything. It is the same issue where things are being done and the public is not being informed about it. Like, for example, I mean, I was at the beginning of the program was talking about the Gazette, that normally they would publish the bills there, but this one is just missing.
Look,
and it seemed like it's a thing that they do.
They now have they don't really now publish the Gazette in paper anymore. They might have a few copies made, but everything is online. I remember when they were planning to do that, I got wind of it and I got in the Senate and I said they're trying to get rid of the people at the government printery. Senator Moore got up and said it was a lie, it ain't true. But I knew that they had actually gone into a relationship with a printery in Barbados, and that printing would have been published in the Gazette. I know that because the staff that they took on to become government printers came to me when they got sent home. Because then everything fall apart, and they were only because in those we were debating the estimates that time, and they didn't put any money in the estimates for the government printery. So we know that if you don't put the money in, you expect that the Bible can shut down. The government printers are like a sleeping giant. Don't do anything really. Nice equipment, all kind of stuff, and some days they don't even have toilet paper to print on. But this government does what it likes, and they feel because they are popular, or they were popular, that they can get away with anything, and that Barbados thing is a 9-day war that we talk for 9 days, and that's the end of it. So they'll wait up the 9 days, but this has to stop because they are not the guardians of retarded people. Where you have to make decisions and do things for them and don't expect them to understand what you're doing for them. You're doing it for their own good. If you're doing it for their good, tell me what you're doing for my good. At least do me that honor. At least you pay me that respect to believe that I got a little bit of sense. They claim they had consultations, right? I don't know who that consultations with because I told you last night they invited me. This is how it happened. I opened my email one day and I saw an email from the Permanent Secretary Ministry of Labor thanking me for agreeing to serve on this committee. That was the first time I knew that I had actually agreed to serve on anything. I felt that was an insult. But then after a while, I cooled down, and when the Director of National Insurance called me and asked me about not attending the meeting, they said, well, nobody never spoke to me, nobody never sent me anything. I was planning to go, but then I said to her, well, send me the documents. And they said they can't send me the documents, I got to get them there when I get to the meeting. You mean they might want a meeting to discuss documents that they have in their possession, and they can't see them till they get there? That means you don't trust me? I said, well, this is the best of time. They want rubber stamps. And I am not a rubber stamp for anything. So the government came up with this thing with the IMF and the IMF nonsense. And they are trying to fit us into what the IMF tells them to do. The IMF is governing Barbados. And I want to reiterate for the people who didn't hear me last night. I heard on more than one occasion on the news where they said that the IMF audited the government pension plan, the government pension scheme. Well, that is a lie. It is an absolute lie because the government doesn't have one. So when they said they audited the pension scheme, they could only audit national insurance. And I do not believe anything the actuaries or the auditors say from national insurance because they have been unable to produce accounts for a lot of years. I remember one person at National Insurance stole millions of dollars. A temporary clerical officer was able to steal millions of dollars. They arrested her, have her before the courts, and the case has been adjourned for about 10 years because they cannot find evidence, because every check that the girls supposed to have forged cannot be found. You cannot charge some person for forging a check that you cannot produce. So, and they were given millions of dollars of going.
Wow.
And they could not. And the thing with the actuary did this, actually did that in the account. You cannot give an actuarial review on an audited accounts because by the time your accounts are audited, it might be something significantly different. The information that the auditors was produced for national insurance this time around is the same information that Oinata had, that Erskine Sandiford had. And I happened to be on one of those pension committees as a member of staff at NUPW. I was representing NUPW on those committees. And we discovered, and they informed us back in 1989 that the National Insurance Fund would go broke if no measures were taken to protect it back then. Well, Arthur came in 94 and he read about it with gusto. He changed up the rules. What he actually did, he changed the way you computed the pension so you would get less money. He raised the contribution rate and he raised the maximum insurable earnings. That put the National Insurance Fund back in good stead and it was building back up. But then when politicians see money, they can't help themselves. They're going to borrow it. What is hurtful is that the Prime Minister, Miss Mia Motley, was a member of the Oinata cabinet and would have been aware of what was transpiring. Ben Arthur was endeavoring to save the National Insurance Fund. So when she came into office, and she said that when she came into office, she discovered that the National Insurance Fund was in jeopardy. When she was asleep during Arthur years in cabinet, because that was all through the cabinet. Everybody knew but her.
Mm.
And then she started to take measures. You want the boy that she had to take measures? Because Ben Arthur helped build back up the fund. Make it look pretty and make it look good. Everybody started to borrow it. And then she came in. And she decided that she ain't going to pay her bills. Or she ain't going to pay the country's bills. And she then forced a write-off. Credit unions, banks, national insurance lost a lot of money. National insurance over $1 billion in that write-off. But that's money that would have kept the National Insurance Fund liquid for a while longer.
Mm-hmm.
And you know
So she did that because she felt that the country could not put that money back. You know what was happening, or is it that people are not paying into the fund?
No, I can touch she's not paying into the fund.
Mm-hmm.
But she knew, or ought to have known, that if she took that money out from the National Insurance Fund, it would have put the fund in jeopardy.
Mm.
But she was not acting on her own. She was taking directions from the International Monetary Fund, who has never helped a small country yet.
I see. Okay, so she was following the directive.
America in the 70s in a short-term thing, and they're still there.
They basically destroyed the economy of Jamaica, the IMF.
They don't help small countries. But they took the dictates, and they're telling me what IMF said this, IMF said that. And the IMF lied. They lied to the IMF. They could have audited something that wasn't there. They audited the government pension plan. The government pension plan. Pensions in the government are paid from current revenue. So when the money come in, they pay salaries, pay the bills, pay pensions.
Okay, because someone is asking how does somebody easy say, okay, the government don't have a pension scheme. I didn't know that. So which scheme does government pay the pensions out of?
Current revenue. Just like how they pay salaries. Or the current revenue. When you pay the taxes, when the gas stations spending all that nice money that you pay, that 40 cents per liter on gas, all that goes into the treasury, and that helps pay pensions as well. But there is no pension fund. There ought to have been, but no government put it in place since 1947.
So why are they saying that the IMF audited the pension fund when pension scheme when everybody should know that there is none?
Well, everybody that should know didn't, because the government didn't even recognize that. That was a lie, unless there was a collaboration. The only fund that they could have audited would have been the NIS pension fund, because they have a fund. But the fund that civil servants are paid from, it is the consolidated fund, money from the treasury. They don't have any pension scheme. When you retire, they scratch off your name off the salary roll, calculate how much pension you got, you then they go on the pensions roll, all at the treasury. You don't there's no fund. There should have been, but there's none.
Somebody here is saying, I'm just giving you some of the comments. Lindell Early saying, when you write off 1 billion in debt, it improves or reduces the debt to GDP ratio. So is that what she was trying to do?
That is what they wanted to make the things look good. The problem is that you, in making the government payments look good, you were imperiling the National Insurance Fund. And the National Insurance Fund is not government money. The National Insurance Fund is money that you, me, all the workers in the country and their employers put there for the benefit of the workers.
Ah, I see. Exactly.
Government is a trustee of that money. But because we have the government and the ministers now get involved in everything, but them insist that they must be involved in everything, the ministers still have overriding control over how the fund is paid out. And when they've got the government, the board wants to invest, they have to tell the minister has to say yes or no. When people apply to the board for a loan, and the board says no, in my experience, the minister tell the board, don't back down for to give people the loan. When the board said no, it was not something that we should invest in. So nothing will change in the national insurance until you get the politicians' hands off of it. Somebody sent me a WhatsApp today claiming that they knew to walk out the first direct national insurance. And when Barrow wanted to borrow money from National Insurance Fund, Humphrey Walker said, Barrow, that it is not, NIS is not the government bank. And of course, Barrow realized it and backed off.
Because you need to have that independence, because you're really just, you're just keeping, you're a trustee of people's money. You can't just take it up and use it.
Yeah, look, I'm making the point again. I keep heading it home. If you were a trustee for money, let's say you had a brother who died and left some money there, and you held the money in trust. That if you had spent that money contrary to its intended purposes, you can face the courts. You can be in jail. But there's no courts and there's no jail for government office, for government ministers who do these things, unless you get catch outside. But we don't talk about the people out there.
That went over my head. Anyway, keep going. That went over my head.
But no, it is absolutely wrong. You've got to follow some sort of rule, some sort of standard, some sort of best practice. And the only best practice people know is, I want some money, give it to me now. And they can tell the National Insurance Board, pay the money over, and the board has to comply. Or you change the board. What should happen? A lot of these boards should be appointed by some person independent, like the president. The president should appoint the service commissions without any involvement of any leader of the opposition or any prime minister. The board, it should appoint the National Insurance Board. It should appoint the people who serve on the tribunals, like the Employment Rights Tribunal, rather than get political persons to be your chairman. I'm not saying that we've been badly served with the people that we had so far, but they should not be appointed they should not be on the recommendation of any minister of government, because they deal with with the things that you want to have an arm's distance. You want to listen, this body there from the government. This body is not a person who would listen to the prime minister and make sure the prime minister gets her way. They will do it based on the strong operating principles. We are not getting that in this country. National Insurance Board should be appointed by no minister.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you something. Right now, the board has a representative from NUPW, one from.
They're still calling you. I know your phone ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
Guys, people want to know about the island-wide sick-out that is coming up. And I'm hoping that I know that Bajans are waking up. The sleeping giant, the giant of a people called Barbadians, are waking up. The scales are coming off their eyes. They're yawning, Mr. Franklin, and they're getting up like this. They're getting
The
up.
thing is,
Go ahead.
I would prefer the government to behave properly, that we wouldn't have to take steps like this. But people have to stand up for themselves sometime, or eventually they will lose everything, even their own pride, because you know, your self-esteem, because the government dictates everything and leave you in a situation where you are just there waiting to receive your red t-shirt and your $100 bill around election time, and that's the only time you participate in the governance of this country. And if you haven't got enough money to pass out at election time, because government ministers were, well, former government ministers were photographed, handed out money, and nobody did anything about it. You want to know why? The Electoral and Boundaries Commission and the Chief Electoral Officer, they're all appointed by the recommendation of the Prime Minister. So what are you going to do? Bring charges against the body. I got you there. We do not have, we have the semblance of a democracy. Only the semblance. It's like a parody of a democracy. On the outside, it looks like we have it. But when you actually get down to nitty-gritty, down to brass tacks, you realize that everything is corrupt. I can assure you now, and I can tell you, I've been around this place for over 60 years. And I've been involved in many elections. I cannot recall a free and fair one. Because you see, for instance, politicians are supposed to spend $10 per elected, no more. And anybody who gives you money, you have to declare it. And that person has to declare it as well. I remember seeing a businessman say that he gives money to both parties. And I wrote and I said that's not true. Because if it's true, you would have to declare. You never declared anything. So that money is spent. And you then send in returns that say that this is the amount of money you spent. You spend a lot more. Because then they say, oh, the party spending money. The party can't, if the party sends money on you, the party has to declare. The secretary of the party has to declare what money spent. I've never seen a return where the secretary of the party have actually spent money on a candidate. I've seen returns where candidates did not have a telephone in their office. And you know that's true. Right? But the people who are supposed to go through these things and spot these things and say, well, look, something wrong here, let's refer it to the court. Boy, you go and do that, and then you lose the case, and then you're looking for a job. So there's nothing really democratic about anything in Barbados. We only have the semblance of a democracy.
Somebody said the mockery we see, not a democracy, is what is happening, and that's why I see, Mr. Franklin, I see this similarity with what Macron did, and our prime minister was in France, and really they weren't booing her, but they were booing Macron, and the reason they were booing Macron was because of the same thing with the pension. One of the things was with the pension reform. And she's come here, and their government is trying to slip it in, not following all the protocol that needs to be followed, and coming in the dead of night and trying to hide away. And when people walking up and drinking, then they come in with something, and it's just very similar to what happened in France.
I want to go on to talk about pensions generally in the public service. There are many pensions acts in the public service. The Judges Remuneration and Pensions Act, the Legislative Service Return Allowances Act, the Pensions Act for civil servants, Statutory Boards, Pensions Act, Statutory Boards, Casual Employees Act, Pensions Act, you name it. They got a lot. Teachers Pensions Act. But all of those, except for judges, all the rest I just call follow the same line. Judges and the parliamentarians, because parliamentarians see themselves as different and super to everybody else. Like give you a rundown now of some of the things that they'd enjoy. In the public service in Barbados, you have to be employed for 10 years in order to qualify for your pension. MPs have to be in Parliament for 8 years or 2 terms, whichever is greater, and they qualify for half their salary as their pension. While civil servants who serve 10 years qualify for 1/5 of their salary. Now let me go on. After 33 and a third years, public officers qualify for 2/3 of their salary as their pension. MPs are similarly qualified after 12 years. Except maybe the minister, because the prime minister, because if you're the prime minister, you only have to serve as prime minister for appointment, just to be appointed, and if you resign the same day, you will get a pension for life. So you understand? Yeah, I'm very serious.
So she doesn't have anything to worry about.
No, nothing, absolutely nothing.
Wow.
As long
Barbadians, are we
as long as
hearing
you've been
this?
appointed prime minister, they pay a small amount toward their pension. But when you become prime minister, give back. So the prime minister gets it back. So that the little contribution you make, the 5% contribution they make to your pension, the person who becomes prime minister, they pay it back to them. And the prime minister gets their pension for life of 2/3 of their salary if they serve 1 day. If you are a member of the Senate and you are not in a minister or parliamentary post, or the president, you do not get a salary. So you're not pensionable. But if you become a member of the House, they add those years in the Senate to your service in the House. So if you were in the Senate for 5 years, and then you somehow become an MP, you only got to serve 3 years now to qualify for a pension of half of your salary. You understand what these people just make sure they take care of each other. And then when something happens, they make sure the civil servants and the people in the country who get pay for it. Because they imperil the national insurance scheme, they put it in trouble, and now they tell me now that they're going to get their pension in 8 years, and they're going to wait 14 years and 14.4 years to get a pension over the national insurance. Mind you, you would have qualified for a pension for 500 contributions. Let's say you had 500 contributions and you lost your job. Your pension is there waiting for you. You haven't reached retirement age yet, but no, when they change to 750, you might get a job. Or you get a pension here. You know that.
Right. Wow.
They better find a job. Mind you, I remember when I worked at National Insurance. We had situations where people had 499 contributions and did not get a pension. You think if you have 499, you didn't get a pension, that you will get one if you have only 500 when they change it to 750? Might doubt it. But mind you, when the politicians didn't qualify for a pension, because remember when Erskine Sandiford was prime minister and the rebels in his party voted against him to bring him down. He, rather than resign, he called an election. So a number of people didn't qualify for pension. And you know what the incoming party did? They changed the law to start the parliamentary day from the day you get elected, not the day when you were sworn in. So as to give them some more time to qualify. Yeah.
Wow, wow.
They always find a way to give us some money.
You know, this information, guys, somebody's saying this is so much, this is very informative. The idea here, folks, it's not, listen, whoever was in power, whoever, whatever, any of these parties with PPP, whatever, DLP, BLP, APP, whatever, listen, we needed to be doing this exact thing. This is about economic justice. There is injustice being done, guys. And if this doesn't wake us up, I don't know what will wake us up, right? Listen, there is there's just give someone from the audience is here with a question or a comment. Isis, do you have something? Welcome to the show, and I just want to let everybody know there's a link that's in the chat. I'm going to put it in again, and it says StreamYard. Okay, you can find it on the Marcia Week Show or on the YouTube page. I just put it on. You can use that to come in, to make a comment, or to ask a question. Okay, go ahead, Isis. Let it be brief, and then so Mr. Caswell can continue. Go ahead.
Divine greetings to you, Marcia, and the TMWS family, along with Caswell Franklin.
Yes, thank
Now,
you.
I
Thank you,
don't
ma'am.
really have questions because I was supposed to be doing a Facebook Live, but I was having internet issues on the same NIS. This is very concerning for me because I was working from the time I was 16 years contributing to the National Insurance Scheme. I also
Mm-hmm.
have, for me personally, access to the NIS portal. And
Mm-hmm.
I know how much contributions I have paid today, so I know how
Mm-hmm.
far away I am from the 500. Now you are moving the goalpost to 750 contributions when a lot of people looted the national insurance. Why do we always have to pick up the buy? Why do we
Mm.
always have to pick the buy for when people loot? They did it with the VAT. The VAT was supposed to be paid in. It was never paid in. People kept their VAT license after doing something like that. We knew who wasn't paying in the money. Yet these people
Mm.
can go on, and we, who ancestors bled and dead, a day before this so-called Emancipation Day. And if we're looking at the significance of emancipation, even when it was passed in 1834, our ancestors were still held on from in Barbados for another 4 years. That is how you get 1838. A lot of people missed it. The bill was passed in 1834. Here we have these politicians in 2023 doing these kind of hideous things. I am not at all happy with this. Why should I have to pay? This is our fund. Like Caswell said, it is our, this is more than a contribution. It's our lifeline. I contributed to my lifeline at 16 years. I turned 43 the day after. This was, this thing came over. Friday, Saturday, July the 29th was my 43rd birthday. You add 25 years to that, that is 68 years. I'm going to say this. My mom died at 68, which means at the pensionable age, as you know, moved from 65 to 67 when it was time for her pension. She died. Next month is going to be 2 years. How much of her pension? And she slaved for a company in this country. Something
Mm.
have to give. Enough is enough.
Wow, this is so, this
Enough
is
is
real for
enough.
you. This is real for you, Isis, and this is why I come on, you know, Mr. Franklin. It is for people like her and for all of us, for all of us. And I'm so glad that Brass Tacks decided to do a show today, because we need a space so we can speak. This is supposed to be a democracy. We need economic justice, and that is what this sick out is all about. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, Isis. Thank you so much. I see somebody else is trying to come in. Gary D, you will need to put on your devices so we can hear. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Isis? Okay, she's gone. Listen, this is a real issue. Folks, share up this live. Share up the live. Barbados, I am telling you, when you start to come together, you know, there's a bit of biblical analogy I was thinking of, Mr. Franklin, as we were coming on. It's Ezekiel 37. You know, I know you have some church people out there. You have different kinds of people. ISIS is, I think, Rastafari. There are different kinds of people. But there's a scripture, it's Ezekiel 37, when the dry bones and those bones that, people are dead, and they're not just dead, but they're dry, right? And then when they started to come together, they came together as a mighty army. And I'm saying that tonight, as the information, the knowledge is going out, that the bones are coming together, and a mighty army is going to stand up, going to be going out there. And don't let anybody tell you that this is political. This happened in France in March, okay? And it had nothing to do with no politics. The people wanted economic justice. And it is the same issue in Barbados. It was the exact thing. It's just that theirs was what, I think 63 years, and this is 68. It was 63?
62, and they wanted to take it to 64.
Right, they wanted to move it to 64, and listen, they are planning to move yours to 68. And what are you going to do? Just put the sheet over your head and go back to sleep? No.
No. Pension age in Barbados was 68. When I was a little boy, my grandmother got her pension. I remember quite well. She got her pension. In those days, the pension should be paid not from national insurance, because the welfare department or the I want to say they paid it. It was, whatever, they change the names all the time, but it was a function for the government, a government department to pay for people who, as a matter of fact, prior to Tom Adams' time, you had to be means tested. And if you had resources that you can live on, you didn't get a pension. Tom said no. Pension age is 65. I'm 65. And if you reach 65, you get your pension. And now his party undo everything that he did. Get back to 68. Without consulting us, just because they talk to the IMF, like the IMF lives in Barbados, the IMF is going to suffer here. Mind you, politicians are not going to suffer, You hear the conditions I tell you that they get their pensions under. Mind you, even if you're a backbencher, you get all these pensions too, Then you only go work 1 day a week. Because most of us only work 1 day a week, and then they don't even sit down for the whole debate. And they live lavish lives. Offer the people, and their pension age starts at 50. And how in good conscience can they say to people, oh, I'm going to get my pension at age 50, but you go wait till 68? That's 18 years. They will get a pension before anybody else. That cannot be fair. What makes them so special that they're entitled to a pension? Unless they were invalid or got injured or something, then I can understand you getting the pension if you've been declared an invalid or you've been disabled from work on the job, you get your pension early. But no, these are young, strong men and women who are going to work someplace else and accumulate another pension. Well, at the same time, I want to get back to the public service pension, the miscellaneous provisions bill.
Yes.
Public service. That applies to public officers, it's the people appointed by the president and the advisory and the service commission. Then it applies to public employees. It applies to the entire gamut of public servants. So all of them will be treated similarly. So, and you will only get your pension when you retire at retirement age. So if you retire early, they will say, well, you are wait till you get, let's say your retirement age for you is 60. And you retire early, you are wait till 60. If you retire at 58, well, you are wait till got anything. Not politicians. That's one. Mind you, when they reach retirement age for national insurance purposes, they will then get a national insurance pension too. But the civil servant will get the pension from the government reduced by how much national insurance pay you. So the politicians are going to get two pensions. And they're going to get, because their salaries are fairly high, they're going to get a big national insurance pension and a big one for the treasury. And they're impoverishing people in this country and fattening themselves. And people saying they're taking it and pretend that they may know. A lot of people know. But they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to say anything because they got a mortgage. And they would get rid of me and they would hurt me. And you know what's happened? You sit down home, you grumble about it, and you're dead early. Over all that. But still ain't God is trying to kill you. No, stand up and speak up. Let people see that you, at least are a man or a woman. Stand up for yourselves. This is unless we do that, and we let the politicians know that we don't accept the type of governance you are giving us. You can't wait 5 years for them to change them. In 5 years, you'll be dead. If they're bad behave, change them now. I'm very serious. Mind you, again, like I say, I am not looking to become an MP. So when I said change them, I'm not looking for them to change them so I can get it. I am not,
and just so people know, I'm not interested in politics at all. So those who are talking about politics, please, I'm not interested in that. So go ahead. Let's declare our hands here. It's about economic justice for me. Go ahead, Mr. Franklin.
I have no intention of running anywhere. But you know, Lord, I could barely walk. I ain't running. I got a bad knee. And so I don't have anything. So I don't make nobody believe that I'm saying these things to benefit myself. I am not. I am saying these things because the average Barbadian refuses to say them, and it's hurting them. You know, they call me. You'll be surprised the things that people call me about. And I have to sit down and listen. I remember one day a lady came to my office and she sat down and she was talking. And I said, Madam, you know, there's not really anything I can do for you. You know, she says, you did. You listened and nobody will listen to me. And she was emotional, you know. I said, so that made me even a better listener because she said I did something good for her.
Yeah.
And all it did was sit down and listen to what she was saying. People can get off the chest. And if you don't get this thing off your chest, they can kill you.
Well, there's Marsha Hines Myrie, who's on. Good night, Marsha. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. What's your contribution this evening?
Greetings. Thank you very much. I just quickly wanted to come and say that I am in full support of the Sickout on Wednesday. Thank you, Caswell. I listened to you both today and yesterday. And, you know, it's informative as always. I would like to take the opportunity to ask, because I just did a piece of research around the United Nations UN House in Barbados. And I was making the point that for having the UN headquartered in Barbados and all the duty-free concessions that they get and that kind of thing, we as the people of Barbados don't get enough for what we've given to them, the 3 acres of land, I think it is. But I was the most surprised person when I was doing the piece of research to discover that the piece of land that UN House is on is still on the books of the Land Registry of Barbados as the property of the National Insurance Scheme. And when we are thinking about the scheme and when we're thinking about the state of the scheme right now, it is not just the fact that the politicians pilfer and, you know, set the law and that kind of thing such that their pensions can come out first and at a shorter time. It also has a lot to do with how the resources of the fund have been managed over time. I sent email after email after email to the communications consultant at the National Insurance Scheme to confirm or deny whether the land that UN House sits on right now is in fact property of the National Insurance Scheme. And if it is, what type of lease agreement are we, the people of Barbados, benefiting from? Absolute radio silence. And so, I think that is something that we also have to pay attention to, not just the pensions, but the fact that the NIS has been used as a personal piggy bank on both sides of the political fence.
Correct.
By politicians. So really and truly, it's, I just wanted to say that, and very quickly to also say that this government sends clear statements to the people of Barbados all the time that they don't care about us. This is the government of the government industrial school. This is the government that still, although they have been, they lost, there's a judgment that they're supposed to pay, two young ladies a certain sum of money. They have done nothing to put that money where it's supposed to be for those children. They basically think,
Really? They haven't
really,
done anything.
they have not done it. And so there's a way in which this government clearly says to us, money is too much money for the people of Barbados. If I were there, I would definitely be sticking out on Wednesday. I heard Colin Jordan today. I thought he was very arrogant and presumptuous when he was basically saying that BAJANS know better and understand and
Yes.
will show up for work. It is
Wow.
arrogant. It is arrogant.
He said Bajans know better and are mature enough, and they will show up for work. That is what they're saying, guys. And that
Press
is what
on.
they're banking on. They're banking on that.
Press on, Caswell. You have my full support. And if there's anything that I can do in the background to rally the troops, to call, to canvass, whatever it is, you have my full support.
And Miss Hines Myrie, I want to I don't have your contact information, but I'm sure we'll be able to find each other. I think I know this name. I'm hoping it's the same person.
It is
the
same person. Yes,
I want to hear about the girls and the monies that were supposed to come to them. This is all about justice, and we had used this platform to push that, to support what you were doing. So I want to get a follow-up on that. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you. What about what she said about the NIS lands that the UN building is on there? What did you know anything about that, Mr. Franklin?
I didn't know about that is not unusual for national insurance to build the government with national insurance money that they're never going to recoup. Like, for instance, they're building a fire station up there in the Pine. They're building it with national insurance money. I spoke about it in the Senate when it was there, and I said, why should the national insurance be building a fire station? That's something to come from the consolidated fund. And they assured me back then that the national insurance scheme was awash with money, so we could afford a little bit and build a fire station. They said that back then, That
wow.
was years ago. So I wonder, somebody have to be lying.
Hold a minute. So when they said that there's enough money that they could just go and build a fire station?
They built the fire station is being built now. And it's being built by the national insurance, out of national insurance funds, and the government can rent it or whatever they're going to do with it.
But hold a minute. So what was wrong with the fire station that was in town?
The fire station that was in town was too close to where they're going to put the Hyatt. All right, you know what?
People, listen, Barbadians, Bajan people, don't let me start talking Jamaican tonight, because this is a bunch of nonsense. Nothing was wrong with the fire station, but they're going to know they went ahead based on what Mr. Franklin is saying and use NIS money to go build a new fire station because of what they plan to do. You guys hearing this? Bajans, you hearing this? Sleeping giant, you hearing this?
I am not. You see, national insurance is supposed to invest the funds that are not needed immediately for pensions and stuff. They're supposed to invest that money. And national insurance had a fairly good investment committee. So Rod Adams said that yesterday on Brass Stacks, it did a creditable job. So they won't fix that. It was working good and they won't fix it. So if it's working good, you want to fix it, I mean you don't want it to work good. But that fund, they had invested in things like Barbados Light and Power. You see how The electricity bills going up, everything. You can imagine our insurance having a good chunk of that thing there. The last administration, the LP administration sold them. You don't sell shares in Light and Power and put on the money bank and they get 1% interest on it. When the dividends from the Light and Power was massive, that it mirror corn and bear money. But they did it too because they wanted money. They built the government offices that they refused to maintain, and then the place become uninhabitable. They go and they build other buildings out of national insurance funds. The building and Warrens there, they call Warrens Tower 2.
Yeah.
National insurance.
Listen, John, I'm telling you, I am telling you all, people. Listen, listen, the bones are coming together because there is no way that what we're hearing tonight, that this is going out in the airways and we remain silent. Listen, the only thing that is going to be left for them is them to take us and put poo-poo on us. You understand? To just defecate on us. That's the only thing that is left to do. As they would Bajan would say, they do jobby on you. That's the only thing left to be done. It's jobby, they jobby in your face. That's the only thing. This is nonsense.
Bob Towers in Bourne Bottom, where Corporate Affairs electoral property is, national insurance. Yeah, man, I say yeah. National insurance build that too. So you're taking the people's money that should go out and invest and get a good return. You're taking it and putting it in government hands, and government is refusing to pay for it. And then when they borrow money to write it off. And there's no control over them. Are you talking about democracy? If Barbados was truly a democracy, a parliamentary committee would have summoned the prime minister and everybody else there to get answer questions. Nobody can summon the prime minister in Barbados. You see, Richie Sunak here had to go before a committee and might look foolish in the British Parliament because he wasn't completely straight with the people in Parliament. Parliamentary committee called him to book, and he had to go. We don't have a democracy in Barbados. We got a little show. Look, I can tell you something now. There's something called Hansard, where when you speak in the house, it is written down. You can go to England by 8 o'clock the following day and get the Hansard for the day before. The last time Hansard was published in Barbados, Roy was speaker. Ishmael Roy. He was the speaker of the house. We haven't had Hansard since. So none of the speeches that I made in the Senate is available to anybody in Barbados, anywhere. None.
What a democracy. What a democracy.
Form.
Huh?
No, I said not the written and official form. Hansard has not been published since 2000, since when I think 2007, when Roy was speaker, because Barbados, the party lost in 2008. And Roy, of course, then didn't become speaker again. So it was in 2007 that the last publication of Hansard. These people just make fun at the system, do a lot of nonsense, and get away with it because Barbadians are not vigilant enough to protect their own interests.
You know, this is another thing that is concerning me here, and I don't want us to leave here without talking about it. Miss Marsha Hines talked about the arrogance of the minister, Minister Jordan, where he's saying he knows Barbadians are not going to. They're going to go to work is what they're actually saying, right? And here comes BWU. You know, they come out and they now say that they have no connection to messages claiming planned island-wide sick out on Wednesday. But I didn't see any message saying that BWU was responsible for that. Did you see any messages, Mr. Caswell, did you see any messages passing around on Facebook that BWU was responsible for the planned island-wide sick-out on Wednesday?
Or they had any connection with it? If they had any connection with it, my funeral would be next week. It would have killed me, not them.
So I mean, and who expected Tony Moore? She's the general secretary, right? She's
Yeah,
the
she's
this
just
general secretary. We would have expected her to okay, and for them, the BW that is basically part of the government to okay a sick out on Wednesday. Nobody expected it. I don't know what they were trying to do with this with this article in the newspaper. What are they trying to do? To distance themselves from it? But we know you're already distanced from it. We know you do nothing for your workers. We know that you're a sham of a union. You're not a union. You're an arm of government, and you should be ashamed of yourself to say that you're not associated with the planned the island-wide sick out on Wednesday. You should be shame of yourself. You should be so ashamed to say it. People are talking about economic justice. You hear the woman who came on to say her mother dead before she get her pension, huh? And put it to 68 years, and you're gonna get yours earlier. The people talking about it, and you talking. Don't let me talk Jamaican on here tonight. Nonsense. Somebody they expect you to be talking about your planning nothing. How can you, an arm of government? And let me tell all of you on here that's part of this fake union. Listen to me, people. You go take back on the money if you can take back on the money from this and stop paying the little whatever you are paying them. This is nonsense. This is a charade. This is wickedness to the heights. Which workers have they stood up for in this country? This is an arm of government. Call them about the sick out. They already told you that they have distanced themselves from it. They have distanced themselves from what you are going through. BAJANS. They're not representing no employees. Liars. They're not. It's a fake union. Caswell didn't say it. I say it. It's fake. It's part of the government. How can a union be part of the government? That's my little rant because I was so upset when I saw this. What are they trying to prove with this article? What are you trying to prove?
Sometimes people come to me complaining that they've been complaining to BW for a year and they have not responded, but they can jump fast and respond. It's less than 24 hours though. But they got it there. You see, I was going to say the answer to the master's whip, but it's not a master, it's a mistress. The answer to the mistress's whip. That is as simple as that. But BAJANS, I tell people, like if you have a dog tied in the yard for a number of years, if you release that dog and open the gate, you don't run through the gate. You start right there, so close to the state. And that is how these major unions have people in Barbados got them tied like that. And even though the door open for them to come out, they don't come out. But they will complain. I have had instances where people come to me and tell me, I am a member of a particular union, but I don't want them to represent me. I got a problem, I want you to do it for me. I said, no, I'm not doing that. Go back to them. Yeah, you are paying them. You're not paying me. But their members don't have any confidence in them. And the members know it.
Confidence in them.
But
wow.
But I'll tell you something. I've had instances where managers, permanent secretaries, senior public officers telling people, don't join Caswell Union. Join BW or join NUPW. Now, if you have a situation where somebody put you on court, and then the person is going to tell you, but go and get X as your lawyer. You will go for that lawyer? But that's what's happening. They are telling you who you should have as your representative.
Basically.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. And the people are taking it.
Listen, that's why this person says every union member needs to withdraw their membership. Listen, come on, BAJANS. Come on, BAJANS. Don't let nobody come and put no jobby on you. Listen, this is nonsense. This is nonsense, and they can't open their mouths about this that is happening to workers in this country. Not
Well,
something happened that last year, happening right now, and you call yourself a union. Go and take out your membership from that. Take away yourself from that. In Jamaica, we say take away yourself from that. Nonsense.
I don't watch debate. I do not watch debates in the lower house. As a matter of fact, I don't watch debates in any house now, since nobody there speaks to the issues. Because if you have a bill, they talk all over the place and they don't mention what the substance of the bill. But I was wondering if the General Secretary of BW was present in the House. Unless she wasn't, when she wasn't, especially when they were debating something as crucial as National Insurance Board, when she's a member of the board, National Insurance Board, and pensions, and she's representing workers. Because she's on that board to represent the workers' position, you know. And the only body that objected when the board raised this thing about national becoming a statutory board was NUPW, and the person Delta Burke at the time, but Delta gone now. You see, and what people are not telling you, or what the government is not telling you, is that the national insurance is already a board. So they can't say, oh, we want form of that. But it is a board already. But it is a board with a difference. It is the only board in Barbados that cannot hire its own staff. And that was intended by the very excellent Errol Walton Barra, because he didn't want the board to be bogged down with mundane things like personnel issues when they're going to be dealing with billions of dollars of people's money. He said, let the personnel people deal with personnel issues, you deal with the money. So that's always been the case. Mind you, some boards still went ahead and hire people contrary to law. Now we have people working at National Insurance that they call them, saying that something called board posts. There's no such thing in law. And these people, they have to embezzle National Insurance funds to pay them every month. Because if you got to take up people's money without any lawful authority to do so, it's called embezzlement. And they're paying these people on National Insurance funds without any authority to do so. These people should be civil servants. Because right now, they're not civil servants, they're not entitled to pensions, they're not entitled to gratuities from National Insurance Scheme. Because National Insurance Scheme is not an employer in law. But governments do these things.
But I just want to say, yeah, go ahead.
And so when they realize that they definitely cannot hire people, this ruse of this bill, it's just called a ruse. It is to get their hands on the jobs. That is all it is about. Because as I said yesterday, I know you keep on saying, I've read the legislation, and everything that they are proposing in the new piece of legislation can be done under the old ones. There is absolutely no need for those provisions. The only provision that changes anything is the one that gives them power to hire staff. That is the only thing.
BAJANS, you hear what I tell you? Wake up. That's one of the things that Errol Barrow made sure of, is about, education and making sure people can read and write. Yes, we have a lot of the younger ones coming up that can't read and write at the moment.
They but even Parliament.
Repeat, please.
We even got one in Parliament that can't read and write.
Caswell, you're a kid.
I'm very sorry.
But anyway, moving along. But listen, guys, listen. There is another thing that you can do. Speak to family members, speak to young people, speak to those who are members of the BWU and the NUPW. If they're not standing up for them concerning this pension situation and the NIS, withdraw your membership from these two unions ASAP. If not, you're nothing but a doormat. You have lost your self-respect. You have lost your self-respect. Barbadians, you would have lost your self-respect if you continue with these two unions. Nobody's paying me to say that. It's just common sense. You don't let people walk on you, rub their foot on you, and do whatever else, defecate on you. No, that's what this is happening here. Right? And all we start to say, we've been saying that for what? About 6 years, and the unions sell out. They sell out 5 years, 6 years, and you're not doing anything about it. Look at a situation like this. It's a clear-cut situation for the unions to stand up. And listen, guys, whether you DLP, because some of this was done under the DLP administration, and now they come and put everybody in the coffin. These ones here that came in and said that what they were going to do. So forget about party. Forget about party, forget about D, forget about B, forget about APP, and come out and defend yourself and do something for yourself, my man. Take for yourself from these people, man.
A lot of young people will say, oh, I got nothing to do about pension, a young boy, about pension. But you'll be surprised how quickly 60, 67 get there, you know. And if when you look back and realize that you should have done something in 2023 to secure your pension down the road, because the MPs secure theirs, you know. Their pension age used to be 55, and they lower it to 50. They take care of themselves. Mind you, yours used to be 55 too. Public servants used to be 55 as well. And they move from 55 to 60 to 65 to 67, now 68.
No. Let me tell you, listen, BAJANS, I'm telling you, you don't even have to do it violently. You don't need to break a window. You're intelligent enough. You're one of the most, educated country in the region. Come on, use your brain. Use your brain. Listen, you can shut this thing down. Shut it down. Shut it down, Barbados. Shut it down. Enough is enough. You're not a doormat. This is not what your ancestors, died for. Shut it down. And take away yourself from these unions. Take away your membership, man.
Marcia, you would see, look, the politicians have a way of sweet talking BAJANS and BAJANS then go along and believe what they're saying. Even you'll be surprised people who you think are intellectually sound when it comes to politics turn real silly, you know. I'll give you an example. We have the airport there. The government is going to basically lease it out for $10 million a year to the Arabs. Only after this union decided we want to take action because we have not been given any information about what will happen to our members and stuff. And one of our people in our meeting went back and spied on us. And when the news came out that we were going to have a demonstration on Monday, we got a meeting the next day.
Go say that again a little slower so we understand. Who took the news to the government? Somebody in your meeting took the news to the government?
Had to be. You know, it had to be.
So you're saying a worker, you're alleging that a worker may have taken the news to the government, and then the government knew what the plans were, and then tried to stop, basically say, okay, come and meet, and they're making all of your demands because they don't want the protest, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they told us a lot of things at that meeting. And I sat down, listened, make notes, and I even made some comments as well. My president, he made some comments as well. But we are not satisfied with them because they're not telling us the truth. And I'm going to tell you why they're not, what I believe, one instance where they're not telling us the truth. They claim, a couple of days after that meeting, they had the headlines, PPP, and they're going to have this MOU for people to negotiate the PPP and work out the PPP within a particular time. I am saying to you, it is my belief that the terms and conditions of the PPP are already in place, and they're working backwards now to fill in the blanks. Why I say this? Because right now, those young Arabs have a man at the airport working on their behalf already. Now, if we are now discussing the prospect of having this PPP, what is their man doing there working as director of operations? He's been there now for a couple of years. So what? So this thing has been done as enough. People like a fair complete. It's just not that they're trying to put things in place to make it look like they did the right thing. I don't believe them. I don't believe them for a minute. and
They,
that is
they
what.
just had wind. They just had wind that you were going to stage a protest, and so then they did the same thing with us with Watch Out My Children, and tried to sending little secret messages to us to tell us, you don't need to march. Come, look at all that we're doing. We don't. And basically, I mean, when you think about it, Mr. Franklin, it's a 30-0. There's no opposition, and you're basically quelling the voice of the people. You're saying to the people, you don't need to say anything. You don't need to do it. You don't need to protest. You don't need to make your voices be heard. You believe that? And that's what happened there. And they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that the sick out doesn't work. But I'm telling you, Bajan's smarter than that. Bajan's smarter than that.
For their own good. This is their future. This is the future of their children. And this is how they will live when they go home in retirement. Because I'll tell you something, see, the most people in Barbados will only have national insurance to depend on when they retire. And if you make it hard to get the national insurance pension, or make it more difficult, the calculations to produce a small amount of pension, but you if you can live on when they leave work, because a lot of the people right now do not have extra income, any other income, but you don't pay for your food and gas and water and light bill and thing. You don't got the money left back.
Yes, it's true. It is true.
I have been at a stage in my life once, and I can say so now, smiling, where I can pay all of my bills, and I had an account at one of the Bridgetown stores, and I used to pay. But then things came up upon me, and I find that when I paid my bills, I had none left. So I went to the place and I said, well, look, this is my situation. I can't pay you every month and thing, but I'm paying mine. They keep writing me and sending me. I said, listen to me. This is what I tell you. I put the names in a hat. And I pull out the ones and pay it up to when they got. And I said, you keep on bothering me, I ain't gonna put your name in the hat, So they stopped bothering me. But a lot of people don't have enough money to buy a second pension plan. Some people don't have money to buy food. And politicians like you like that, because they can see them. Here's right alongside of this story that you have here with the BW thing, you see Kirk Humphrey giving out hampers for the 11 plus children and stuff. You want people to feel mendicant, depending on you.
Yeah.
Give the people the resources. Let them spend them. You don't want to buy ruler for me. Suppose they got a ruler that my brother had. And they don't need to put the money in their hands. But you won't be out there to show people that you were trying to capture these little votes here, because they're going to vote in a few years. But no, they're 7 years down the road, they're going to vote, and you want them to remember that I give you erasers and handouts and a few books that don't stick on properly because they buy cheap things. But the children don't notice that. No, you want people that are mendicant. The politicians want all roads to lead to them, so you can come to them. You come to them for a job, and then you want to feel good that I help you with a job, so you gotta get the vote. That kind of nonsense. That's not their job. They destroy the service commissions. They put political people in place in the commissions who hire political pimps. And we are not getting the best civil servants possible, because your family might be politically inclined, not even you, and you can't get a job in public. We gotta stop this nonsense. When you get a job and they're paying you pittance, making sure that you are always dependent on them. Even when you're retiring, the pension is going to be so small But these new changes that you're forced to be begging them again.
Mm-hmm.
So cradle to grave, they want you to be begging them. You to be at their mercy. Stand up for yourselves, people.
Stand
Just
up. But someone said send something to me, and I want to read it, because this is out of my league, and I just want to read this. Okay, just let me read something that came in, and basically what the message was saying was that they wondered why we were doing why is the sick out on Wednesday, because the concern that people have is that they're going to lose pay because they have now gone back to work, the day after holiday. Is there any truth to that, Mr.
sometimes you have to sacrifice in order to get better.
Mm-hmm,
And if you keep on being that narrow, that is why they will always hold you.
mm-hmm,
I remember when the nurses went on strike. We had some nurses that stayed out for 13 weeks. They didn't get paid for 13 weeks. And they said we are not going back until we get some sort of result. Some
mm-hmm,
of them, when they didn't get result, are now working in New York because
mm-hmm.
rather than they said, but we ain't going back under those conditions. Mind you, one lady, she's not earning 98,000 US a year as a nurse. She was earning 4,000 something in Barbados. 4,000 Barbados, 2,000 US. Now she's a month that's 24,000 US a year. Now she is earning 98,000 Barbados. So it didn't do any harm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta make a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
I remember when they had the NSRL marches. We had people telling you, merchants telling you, "Oh, go to the march and we will pay you." That was for their own good because they will get off paying the tax.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is for your good. They ain't gonna pay you. They don't care enough about you. You gotta care about enough
Mm.
about yourself. At least to make a little sacrifice for yourself. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. So they're saying that the Thursday and Friday, some people have to report for duties the day before and after the holiday to be paid for them. Who will pay for those other 2 days? The idea is great in my opinion, but the process was not thoroughly thought through. Thursday and Friday would have been better and hit them where it really hurts. No one to make deposits, less staff on a day leading up to weekend and cripple them. Just my opinion. Is there any merit in that?
What we decided that we wanted this thing happen to demonstrate to the Senate that we are not pleased and we don't want you to pass it. No, you can't
Okay.
do that. You have to do it by Wednesday because the Senate been on Wednesday.
The
That
Senate, that's what
was
I
the
thought. The
thing.
Senate is meeting on Wednesday, guys, and it is to send a clear message. And but I do understand that people are concerned about the 1 or the 2 days that they're going to not be paid. But as he said, we have to make some sacrifice now so we can benefit later.
Yeah,
And yes, go ahead, sir.
they are not. If you're not willing to make sacrifice, no, you're gonna make it when you don't get the pension. It's as simple as that. It is in your hands. You gotta say, well, I'm going to lose $100 today, or am I going to lose my pension when I reach 68? Because you might be 25, no, you're not thinking about 68, but
Mm-hmm,
you're not going to be 25 all the time.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
remember when I was 25.
That was only yesterday.
Just the other day, good looking little boy walking on the place. I think, no, I'm not good, still good looking, but not a little boy anymore.
Jackie Medford said, "Good night, Mr. Franklin. Thank you for educating the people of Barbados. May God bless you." But Jackie, I believe that Mr. Franklin is doing way more than educating, because a lot of times, what I'm saying is there needs to be an action with the knowledge that we have received. And the action is on Wednesday, because, and he's saying exactly why Wednesday, because that is the day it goes to the Senate, y'all. And the Senate is, everybody in there is appointed by government. They're all government people, right? It's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain. And it's just about having, there's something, I don't know, Mr. Franklin, but you see, when I feel like anybody taking advantage of me, no, sir, I gonna wiggle from underneath that. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna be taking no advantage of me. And that's what I see that is happening here. And so that is one thing that you can do to stick out. The next thing is that Wednesday, people, listen to what I'm telling, because it's not going to benefit you. These unions are not benefiting you. Go and remove your membership. Take away yourself from them. Go move your membership. Listen, if hundreds of Barbadians start to remove their memberships from these unions, you know that they're going to get the message. They will get the message. This is something that matters to you. It matters to you. And they are silent on it. They are silent. Have they said anything, Mr. Caswell? Unless I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't heard anything either. I was on the commission a bit today, so I was mostly on the phone because a lot of people calling, asking about this sick, asking about these pension arrangements, asking about these things. You'll be surprised. Among the questions I feel it today should have been the questions that you feel to the people who are trying to educate you. Understand the government should have had those questions answered before they passed the bill.
Correct.
But they treat you like fools.
They treat you like fools. I agree. And it's enough. Let the dry bones come together. Come on, guys. Ezekiel 37. Listen, don't let me get in my church more than you all tonight. Ezekiel 37. I'm praying over Barbados that the bones are going to come together. All 548 of us, or 550 of us on here. Let the bones come together and start. Let them rise up as a mighty army. And we don't need to have violence. We're too intelligent for that. We don't need no violence. We're too smart for that. Just go and remove your membership. If everybody on here and go and talk to other people, tell them what you learned tonight. Be like the woman at the well. See, I'm using all kind of scriptures tonight. Be like the woman at the well and go and tell somebody something that you learned tonight on here. And get them to move their membership. No, there's no union in this country who should be silent right now. When the people hurting your employees working and you silent, you're nothing but a thief. You're taking people money. You're a robber. You're a robber because you're taking people money and not doing the work that you're supposed to do for them. You're nothing but a thief. That's what you are.
There's a question how to resign your membership.
Yeah.
I will tell you some stories. I can tell you what the law is, and I can tell you what happens. There's a piece of legislation called the Protection of Wages Act that says that you can stop them from taking out anything other than from your salary, other than taxes or court order payments. Taxes are everything called NIS, PAYE. If you were worthless man and you won't pay for your church and put you in court, and the court says, well, the money can come in your salary to thing, you can't stop that either. Anything else that comes out of your salary, up to and including your mortgage, you can tell the workplace, don't take it out no more. When you ask the workplace to take out money for you, they are doing you a favor. But we have one union in particular, and the other one now is trying to do it too, where they tell you, oh, if you want to withdraw, you got to come up here and fill out a form. And then they don't have the forms. And if you go to your accounts department, say, oh, go to the union. No, you go to the accounts department because they're who taking your money. Because they are breaking the law. I remember years ago when I was a member of staff at NUPW, and NUPW started to recruit people, lifeguards, at the National Conservation Commission. And the NCC refused to stop taking out for BWU. I had to write the Labor Department and let the Labor Department get involved because it is against the law. But the unions and the employers, because the employers try to tell you which union to belong to. I was supposed to go to a meeting on Friday morning. I pressed my clothes and I ready to get a meeting. Then I get a call. Mr. Franklin, the people asked me who is my representative. When I said Mr. C. Franklin, they sent back another email. What is the C for? Caswell. Next email, meeting canceled. They don't want me around. The employers don't want me there. And I'm trying to tell the people, go and get somebody from the other unions to represent you. Because they won't deal with them. I can put it now. I have had more success at the employment rights tribunal at the Labor Department because most of my cases don't get that far. I win before we get there. I have more cases than anybody in Barbados.
So you're saying that you've been able to win the cases before they get to the Labor Department because
before they get to the tribunal.
Before they get to the tribunal, because you are fighting on behalf of the employees, and I'm telling you, Mr. You believe me, whether you want to believe me or not, Mr. He didn't know what I was coming on here to say. Never told me to say anything, but I just don't like anybody. I don't like nobody walking on me. You can't walk on me, right? You can't walk on me. I'm telling you that now, right? And they are so bold to come and say they have no connection. We know you don't have any connection because you don't represent nobody. Nobody did expect you to have any connection. Who did expect you to have connection? I was so annoyed when I read this. You are so bold that you can go and write the newspaper and say you have no connection. That's the only thing you can say about what people are feeling in this country right now. You so tone deaf, Tony Moore and the BWU. You so tone deaf. Huh? I'm still on that because that gets me annoyed. Huh? I hope the BAJANS when Wednesday morning come, make the letters them go to the accounts department here and take away yourself from them things and don't let nobody put a job upon you and sit on upon you and stand upon you and treat you and throw dirty water. In a Jamaica, we say them a throw dirty water upon you. Not make nobody throw no dirty water upon you. Huh? No man. No, man. Guys, spread this. Spread it and give them the shock of their lives, because I know that this is not just going to be the sick out, What else you have up your sleeve there, Mr. Caswell? What else? The people calling me today, they say they want to protest, they want to go up on the streets.
Now, what I want to give people information. I like to give people information. And I'm going to say some things now that might surprise a lot of people about the National Insurance Fund that is going broke, that they're saying is going broke, so they have to take steps to fix it. One of the biggest villains for not paying in national insurance is the government.
What you saying?
That the government has not been paying in national insurance contributions for a number of workers. And then they're saying because employers are not paying any contributions, that's why the fund is suffering.
What's the facts? You have facts on that to say that the same government that is increasing the pension age, you're telling me this same government here that they are also the ones not paying into the same NIS that they're taking the money out of. What kind of nonsense is this you're telling me here?
It was all in the news. A lot of people came to see me. It was all over the news, where the government has hired people and then call them private contractors. You're not a private contractor if you don't own the business. And there's no business there. Government just pay these people and don't pay contributions for them. Because the IMF tell them don't pay. This was an IMF decision. So the government was hiring people and not paying contributions. We had people in ministries that were working as clerical officers that they were calling private contractors. And you know it is a criminal offense not to paying that money. You know, if you have somebody working for you, you don't pay their contributions, it's a crime.
Mm.
And the government committed the crime. All those people who went on during the COVID times and clean the ash and clean the streets and all kind of stuff, they were private contractors. It was at the hard around the time of COVID and the election time to make sure that they get they keep the votes coming in. They call them private contractors. So, but what is dangerous about that? If the government would do this, you know, you had people on the street working with swords and cutlasses and all kind of thing. You are working and the cutlass slip from your hand and catch a fella and butcher him. That's an accident at work. Not deliberate, happened by accident. But because you were not paying any contributions, you do not get any benefits. So you do not get any injury benefits from national insurance. And national insurance pays very generous injury benefits. You get 90% of your salary or wage if you are injured on the job. And they deprive people of that benefit. I heard on one case where one of the workers was going to the portable toilet that I had there and stepped on something and got injured, not paying the contributions. And the joke is, when those people, some of them were saying, well, look, you know, some of the government pay my contributions, I can pay them myself because I want to be able to be covered. National Insurance told them, I am very sorry, but you are not self-employed, so we cannot take self-employed contributions from you.
Wow. So they're part of this scam. It's like a scam. These people are something else.
Everything is going wrong, and it's only one that can get hurt are the workers of this country.
Biggest scammers. The government is a big scammer.
You're not paying people contributions into the thing. And let me tell you something. The law is if you earn $21 a month or $21 a week or $91 a month, you must pay national insurance contributions. And the government wasn't paying anything for its own workers. So when you see the government doing it and the other employers out there refuse to do it too, what is the government going to do? Sue them for doing the same that you're doing? And then they wrote off the contributions that people collected and they're paying, trying to keep them. That's where the fund is in trouble, and that's why they want to raise your lower the benefits you're getting and raise the qualifying requirements because they're messed up. They're messed up and you gotta pay for it. And if you let them get away with it now, they're gonna mess up 2 years down the road and you can pay for it again too. So it is up to you.
It's up to the people. And you know, this person here, Caswell, I want to say this, and Jed Hearn has the right approach here, you know, because some of these atrocities were done under the DLP too. And it's about all parties. This here is not, listen, can we just, when we waking up, can we just take off all of them labels? Can we just wake up as Bajans? Bajans, wake up. Can we just wake up as Bajans? And stop talking about all these politicians and this DLP and BLP and all these kind of P. Can we just get up as people for once?
Marcia, people keep saying about a political divide in Barbados. There is no such thing. Harold Barrow was a Barbados Labour Party member. He ran for the Barbados Labour Party in 1951 in St. George. Didn't get the seat. By election in St. John, he got it in 58 after he formed the Democrat Labour Party. And you will look and from Barrow down till now, you have people who switch from one party to the next. You want to know why? I'll give an example. In that says 86. The DLP won 24 seats, and the Barbados party won 3 seats. So when the next election was coming up, the DLP was only looking for 3 candidates, and the Barbados Labour Party was looking for 24 candidates. So some of those people who were Dems ain't got no place to run. Come over and run Barbados Labour Party. There's no political divide. There's no philosophy that divides the parties.
Exactly.
It's just people looking to feather their nest. And the feather nest at your expense by telling you, we want you to B and you to D, and they love you, and this nonsense. They love each other. They take care of each other. When they couldn't get, when they didn't have enough years to qualify for pension, the other party come in and change it for them. They take care of each other. The only bother get is the people who feel like they're politicians. They make a noise for politicians, and the politicians are laughing at them.
You see, Melissa has a question here. Before we close, she's saying, is it the same if I'm working for a private sector and they don't pay my NIS? If I pay on my own and I'm injured, I cannot benefit?
Precisely. If you pay national insurance contributions for yourself, as a self-employed person, self-employed persons are not covered for employment injury. Because and there's a reason for that. If you were working in your little yard, fixing whatever you do, and you think, well, I can't injure myself and get national insurance, who is there to say it was an accident other than you? Because when you get injured, the witnesses and the employer has the right and say to national insurance, yes, this happened at work. Or you don't get nothing, you know. So if you are self-employed, you aren't going to employer to write and say so you're not covered for it. You will get sick leave, which is only 66 or 2/3% of your salary, but NIS pays 90% for employment injury. I always make a joke and tell people it's better to get injured. But the government should not be putting its people. They should be protecting them rather than putting them at risk. Then when you put them at risk, there's nothing to help them if injury takes place, because the government is only looking, following the dictates of people who don't care about us. Because those people at the IMF come down here, them only looking at numbers. But you're not a little baby in the cradle number, you're in a number, you know. That's a real little person you got there. The IMF is only seen as a number. So when they say you got to get rid of some of the numbers, and I know, please allow me, I got to tell you something. I was on brass tacks with David Ellis Sunday, Colin Jordan minister, and Colin Jordan was saying that, you know, the people are dying. They don't have enough people, young people coming into the workforce to replace the people that are dying. He said only in 2022, where we had a spike in deaths.
Don't call certain words. Don't call certain words, okay?
Right?
I know where you're going, so don't call. We're going to say we're going to say it right.
I will not call it that joke word. You know, they didn't realize that those deaths came from that joke. But they had a spike, and the government knows it. They don't about anything. And now they're going to put you in a position where, you know, you are allotted in this life, according to biblical things, 3 score and 10. 3 score, 320, a score is 20. 320 is 60, and 10, 70. So the government wants to give you pension for 2 years.
2 years. I tell you, we have to laugh.
Everybody don't live to 70. So you know a lot of you will not make 68 or 70. So you will not get anything, your family will not get anything, you will not get anything, having paid contributions for the time you're 18.
Wow.
This is what they have planned for you.
That's what they have planned for us. So Melissa is asking a question. Then if I'm working for a company, non-governmental, and they're not paying, but I decided to pay on my own. Will I be eligible for injury benefit?
You cannot pay on your own. National insurance will not take it.
Okay. Good. Good. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Wow. I'm learning too, guys. I tell you, I'm learning. Yes, Melissa says thank you. Melissa got her questions answered, and we're gonna be on tomorrow. This is school. We have in class tomorrow. We're gonna hold school tomorrow. School gonna happen tomorrow. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, you come and you bring, somebody said last night they had their paper and their pen. And Melissa got her questions answered. There's somebody here who kept asking a question, if the members of parliament, if they are considered self-employed. That question keep coming up, and I'm
Yes,
going to.
yes, there are. I made that point to the minister yesterday because he asked the question, he was able to answer. I said, no, you're considered self-employed. Because that is what the national insurance regulations say, that parliamentarians are deemed to be self-employed.
Okay, because this person kept asking that question. The whole Peter says the fact that the BW has disassociated itself from the planned SICOT is evidence that they will not disagree with anything that would appear to be anti-BLP. That's why I'm telling us, if it take away yourself from them, move, tell them to move and go. In Jamaica, we say go, right? Move from both here. All right, move yourself from there. And it's not, listen, you can use both hands. So you do the sick out and then go and write the letter, and write the letter, and you bring it in when you go to work the next time, and let them know that you don't want to be part of that. They don't take no money out of your pay no more, because it's a waste of time. Right, it's a waste of time. And you see it, we need to keep doing these sessions. What's his name talked about educating the masses, educating people, and this was education tonight. This is what this was. Okay, and that's what we need. And once the people are educated, listen, you don't need to force them to go outside, because Barbadians are intelligent people. They understand. This is what I said last night. Once people understand, Lorraine is saying that this discourse is rather enlightening. I agree. And once people understand, you don't have to force people to do anything, because they understand that that's BAJANS. They deal with up here. You understand? Intellect, in the intellectual kind of people. They're gonna think about it. They have a lot of education. All right, and this is what is happening tonight. The people are getting enlightening, and I am declaring that Ezekiel 37 is happening. Bones are coming together. Almost the 600 of us on here tonight, from between Facebook and YouTube. And by the time we get up, there'll be how many thousands of views tomorrow. And bones are coming together. Bones are coming together, and they're going to get the shock of their lives. They will get the shock of their lives, I'm telling you. So school is on tomorrow. We're going to close off now, Mr. Franklin. School is on tomorrow. The sick out is on Wednesday. And listen out for some more as well, because you could take 2 sick days. So listen out as more things are going to come, going to happen. And make sure you're present in class tomorrow. Bring your book and pen and come and get enlightening, as Lorraine said. Tell somebody about it. When you leave this, you share it. In college, they used to say, my teacher would say, go and teach somebody else. When you start to teach somebody else, it may mean that you learn something, right? It means that you're learning something. So go and tell somebody else what you learn on here tonight, right? And why they should do this account. You and share this with them. All right, Mr. Franklin, anything you want to say to the people before they go?
I just want to say to the people in this country that your future is in your hands. You have the power to make a difference. People try to make you believe that you don't have any power, but the power is yours. And you suffer because you refuse to use the power and let the politicians believe that they are the ones with power. No, do you give them power? And when you don't want something, you have to let them know by your numbers saying, that's not for us. Instead of saying, oh, we can vote in 5 years, because you know how much damage they can do in 5 years? Oh, Lord, you see how much damage they did in 3 the last time, 3.5. You can't let them continue to treat you this way and to treat you like you didn't go to school. Please, for your own sake, take action to protect yourself and your children. They're not going to do it for you. They just want votes and they want power. You are a good night all.
Yes, yes. Well, we will see you tomorrow night at 7. And as I said, listen, guys, because we're building up for Wednesday, right? We're building up for Wednesday. And so class need to be bigger tomorrow, right? Bigger, invite somebody, do your dinner early. We're on vacation. Them give us a holiday. Listen, this is the worst thing they did to give us these holidays because we have time. We had some time to think. A lot of us, is not everybody out there partying and walking up. You understand? We were able to take the time and think, right? And sleep late and think a little bit and pray a little bit more. And we're coming back tomorrow night. Get your dinner early, cook early, and take care of the children early and come and sit down and learn tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to see you at 7 o'clock. All right? Okay, Mr. Caswell, God bless you and may God continue to protect you. We pray for Mr. Caswell right now. And we pray protection over him. Right now, we protect you from all the whatever demonic attacks they would want to send to bring confusion in your mind and to block your path. We declare a clear path for you and a clear path for the people of Barbados. And tonight I'm declaring that the chains are moving from off the people's minds and that the bones are coming together and the lies are being ripped from the people's mind. I'm declaring that over Barbados, the length and breadth of Barbados in the north, the south, the east and west, that there is an understanding is happening. And this thing that the people are under, the stupor and the eyes of the people are being opened up. I'm declaring that. I don't normally do that on my show, but I just feel the power of God to say that God is calling BAJANS to wake up, bones coming to bone, joining together, forget about B and D and get up as BAJANS people. Get up and throw it off. Throw off all of that drudgery and all of this thing that we were saying, oh, you are this and you're that, and be BAJANS. Be BAJANS. God bless you all. Don't let me start preaching on you all. All right. See you all, Mr. Franklin, and everybody. Have a good night. Sleep well. God bless. Bye-bye.